Okay, folks, this is an incredible opportunity to ask Tania anything you want.
Ask me, I'll tell.
Get into it. Any questions?
When did you first doing photography?
I have been doing photography for a long time. I started in my early 20s when I was a hairdresser, and we used to do a lot of hair shows, and we would bring in a photographer, which cost a fortune. So then we had a guy that used to sell a shampoo, and he's like, "Oh, I can do photography. I'll teach you how to do it so that you don't have to pay professionals." So I was nominated to go along, and basically that's where I started with film. And then I used to do weddings and things like that. And then when it kind of started to go digital, I was kind of like not so interested. So I stopped for a few years, and then I come back to TAFE and started all over again.
And did you grasp the digital easily?
No, because it looks so different to film.
Do you miss film?
Do you know, I miss the thinking. Now I don't think. So when I was using film, because film was expensive, you couldn't look on the back of the camera, so you had to make sure that all your exposures were right and all that. So I used to put a lot of thought into all that, whereas now I don't. Now I just click look when it's, I don't think as much as I did when I did film.
Sweet.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah, of course.
What was the first big purchase that you purchased? So you obviously love the high fashion, cool portrait.
Yep. Do you mean as in camera equipment or props and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually not a gear freak at all. So when I have to buy camera equipment, I hate it. Like, I don't get excited. It's like, I want to do this shot. Oh, damn it, I have to buy that lens. Like, there's no way around it. I have to go and buy it. Whereas I'd rather spend the money on dresses and stuff like that. So the first really expensive thing I bought was, when I first started out, I was Olympus totally manual camera called an OMD 50 for OMD.
For the film?
Yeah.
Probably just OM then.
Oh, OM. Sorry, you're not the D, of course.
Yeah.
OM 50. I think it was totally manual. There was no settings on it. And I loved it. I really did love that. And but it was second hand. I had two of them. So my first big purchase was a Nikon F100, and it was so expensive. And it was like kind of gold, because the old ones were metal and looked, like your camera. And that was my first plastic one, but it looked so modern, and so that was my first big purchase. Yeah.
Now, I've got a bowl full of questions too, so if there's a lull, if you want me to go to the bowl, or if you want to...
Does it keep you busy, you're able to sustain an income from it?
Yes, so I work full time in my own business. Yes, I am able to. I can't keep up with it. So I'm a little bit slow. I take a long time to do everything. So obviously, if I was quicker, I could. The potential's there. But when you work for yourself and you are only one person, there's only so many hours in the day, only so much money you can make. So, yeah.
How many photos for a wedding would you take, average?
Depends on how long they have between their, say, ceremony and reception. If they have a lot of time, obviously I'll take more photos. If they have a bigger bridal party, they get more photos, but on average I would give a client, I don't know, probably 600 photos perhaps. Yeah, I'd take probably, 800, 900, rarely over 1,000. I would never, no, I'm not one of those shooters. Yeah. Sorry? No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm a bit slack when it comes to all that. I don't sell product. because I work from home, it's like everything's an effort to if people just come to have a chat, I've got to make sure that everything's professional and there's no one home and et cetera, et cetera. So I just find that the product, and I'm not a very good salesperson either, so the product side of it doesn't attract me.
I always also figure they like different ones to what you might like.
Yeah.
That they like in the old one and then
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
keep becoming a model.
Yes.
That goes,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
that goes with
That's
that, so we've
11.
done that.
Is that it?
And just
Outstanding.
beautiful, thank you.
Thanks, Nikki.
Sorry guys.
What's the most memorable experience you've had in your line of work?
Oh, lots. There's been so many. There's been, I do a lot of baby photography, and I used to joke that I hated babies. And people started booking for baby shoots, so I'd be like, oh, but then when they come, it's just beautiful. So that's a nice experience. But memorable, there's been some funny ones that I might be able to say on camera. I've seen Fathers of the Bride in the nude. I've seen lots of things. So it's always memorable when it's something different and fun, because I'm a bit crude. So you sometimes get groomsmen that do silly things. I often encourage it. So there's been lots of memorable things. Actually, one memorable thing was I got to shoot in a house at a place called Elmer Park, and the house had been left for about 40 years, and it was a 100-year-old house anyway.
Wow.
And it looked like the set of a movie. The house was magnificent, but it also had holes in the roof and ivy and wild rose bushes were growing through. It seriously looked like something out of a movie. So I was really lucky to get to go in there. It was when I was doing TAFE, so I wish I was a bit more technical, because I would have shot a lot more natural light. I used a lot of flash, and back then I used to shoot with Mark originally, bright, I wasn't softening it and stuff, and it didn't match the beautiful, you say now, and it's not the kind of place that I can just ring up and go to, so it's but yeah, that was pretty memorable.
Okay.
To the bowl.
To the bowl.
Should you work for free?
Personally, if you want to work for free, work for free. When you have a business, you will soon see that the more you work for free, the more people expect you to work for free. You need to value yourself, of course. But yeah, I think if there's something that you want to achieve, like a shoot, and you've got, someone that you want to use as a model, or you've got a shoot you want to do, well, yeah, why not? Work for free. If there's somewhere that you want to get into, and the only way to get your foot in the door is to perhaps come and offer your services. Yeah, I would. I still do occasionally, for Zoe, because she does a lot of charity work, and I do paid work for Zoe, so I've offered my services for some free things. Yeah.
Nice. Shutter speeds and flash. Talk about that.
Okay. What do you want me to talk about?
What's the relationship there between the shutter speed and the flash?
Oh God, come
You
on.
can just skip it if you want.
Okay, so
basically we just go.
a fun thing to try with shutter speeds and flash is put yourself in a dark room.
Oh.
Ooh. And if you've got a flash that you can set off manually,
With the test button.
with the test button. So give yourself a long exposure on your camera, whatever, 30 seconds or something, and stand in the dark room and flash, and then move over here, flash, and down here, and flash, and flash. And then once your exposure's finished, you'll see yourself 4 or 5 times. That's fun.
Good plan.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not very exciting.
Oh, and the shutter speed one was.
Other questions?
How would you
start
start?
using Flash?
Yeah.
Just using it. Just using it.
Nice.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Like, because I was a bit scared of Flash. But when I did film photography, I used to use Flash all the time, as not creatively, just because you needed it as a fill or whatever. And it's funny because even back then, people didn't put soft boxes and stuff on their little flashes and things like that. But here's a funny story. I didn't like the harshness of the flash, and different camera settings, like in different situations I used to find I couldn't bring it down low enough. So I had a hairnet, a white hairnet that I picked up at Haberfields. We went for some excursion thing for Haberfields, had this white hairnet. So I used to double that over on top of my flash. So I was
You
diffusing
were the first Gary
way
Fong.
back then.
Actually seeing videos of someone using white rubbish bag to diffuse light.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like a DIY softbox.
Yeah, and occasionally people would say to me, "Why do you got that in your flash for?"
Yeah.
And I said,
But having a little bit of light in your pocket.
"Oh yeah, God, you've got to have it, especially when you're in business, because you can't show up and say, oh no, I can't shoot this because there's not enough light." Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Dun,
Do
dun, dun, dun.
you watermark? No, I don't.
Don't watermark.
No, I don't.
Talk me through it.
Okay, reason I don't watermark. First is probably out of laziness. Second is because I'm not big on my logo. Don't want to flash it off. Thirdly, if you're going to watermark effectively so people can't steal your photos, they've got to go straight across all the bits you want people to see, because there's too many talented people that can crop them out. But in saying that, I think it's really useful for people to, you know, if that photo gets shared around, your name's on it, they know who you are. So, like, I'm not saying do or don't, but personally I don't.
Sweet. Questions? Back to the bowl. What's the best way to do a group photos?
Okay. In a perfect world, I would have my groups, like, I like to set things, I'm like a bit fussy the way I set things up, and I always try to have my camera on a tripod, and I'll be like, oh, look at me, click, 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 click. So then I can, if I have to, I can impose, you know, eyes
Swap
for people, swap heads for eyes and stuff. And I'm also really loud. I think that's really important, because what happens when you get big families together, or whatever it is, sporting groups, whatever, and you get them all lined up and they get next to, they're like, oh mate, how's your baby? You know, and I'm like, all right guys, look at me. And yeah, so you have to be really loud, otherwise they're just gonna chatter and they're not gonna look at you. And if you have one person that's like looking away, it's just, yeah.
I like that. That's the loudness is good.
Oh, you've got to be loud.
All of these questions we pretty much run via Mark as well.
Oh,
They're just a
okay.
bowl of questions.
Yeah.
And I can remember Mark's answer was all about apertures and getting enough
Yeah.
light.
Oh, of course,
and yours
yeah.
is very practical
Well, I
of
just
how to
think they're
wrangle,
gonna know that, yeah.
wrangle the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any questions? The bowl. How hard is starting?
Starting photography or a
The
business?
business.
Or
So we're going to
business?
finish that for. We're going to have a certificate. We're going to have an exhibition. We're going to walk out the door and then go, what happens next? Because
Okay.
you've done it.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
It's not as hard as I thought. The first thing to do is to get your good photos out there. So what I found in the beginning was I got a few clients and I'd look at their photos and think, they're not, you know, like, I didn't like the way they were dressed. That kind of doesn't show my, you know, idea of how I like my, say, family portrait.
Yep.
So what I did do was I picked a few people I knew that I think would suit each genre, I suppose, that I wanted to represent my business. And I went and portfolio shot and then just and I did that for nothing. And I said, yeah, take the photos, put them on your Facebook page, mention my name, and it's just happened. It just, you know, but I only put like the stuff that I really like the good stuff. I didn't overload because I didn't want all that kind of crap out there just to get it out. Like if I couldn't get what I wanted, like weddings, like I did a few weddings, I was like, I didn't really, sounds awful, but I didn't really like the taste of the bride. It didn't kind of suit, you know, what I like. So I did a little fake bridal shoot, but I mentioned it. I didn't like pretend I did a nice wedding.
Yeah.
So just things like that.
Yeah. I think that's a really great way to shoot for free. To shoot your 7th wedding for free. It's not a great idea to.
No.
When you do a wedding, do you take a side pick for help?
Oh yes. Yeah. Every time.
To carry that heavy bag.
Yes. And I don't, and they are more for, like, I usually don't use anyone that's interested in photography because I don't need another photographer. I'm not hiring a second shooter. I'm literally just hiring someone to go and park the car, to go and grab something out of the car, to go and help the bride, because most bridesmaids aren't real good at their jobs, and my assistants end up being the head bridesmaid. So I more hire my assistants on things like that, not at all photography related, as long as they can hold a reflector. And the first thing I teach them even with the reflector is use the silver so you can see, then flip it over to the white. Yeah.
Sweet. Are you jumping off there?
You've got a lot of I know you said you weren't interested in your technical stuff, but got a lot of money invested in your...
Oh, yeah. Although I'm not a tech freak, I know what I have to have, and of course I have all the tools that I need, but you know, a lot of people have 20 lenses. No, I have what I need.
Yeah, and you've got your favourites?
I wouldn't even call them favourites. They're just easy to use. Like the 50, I tend to use a lot because I can get lower, like handheld with that. Like I love my 70 to 200 is beautiful, but sometimes just not realistic to use. I'm too close, or I need those like faster shutter speeds, and I can't get them without, you know, shooting my ISO up and stuff like that. So I just go for the 50.
Yeah.
Depending, of course, on yeah.
So is it like unloading the truck when you get to somewhere, like you've got to take out all your gear?
Not the camera gear, but the props, yeah.
Props,
yeah.
You've got a lot of props?
Yeah. I sure do.
Well, last year when you came, the camera bag, that was lovely. But the props bag was a bit more exciting.
Yeah.
Because it was Bobby.
Yeah.
You've got like clothes or just material?
Everything.
Type stuff?
Not so much material, because it looks like material. I'm really big on being authentic, and I love textures and stuff. So sadly, cheap fabrics, they look cheap. You know, like I love heavy textured things that look expensive, especially if you're kind of shooting anything fashion. Don't even attempt it with things that kind of look mediocre. You'd be better off going really simple and, you know, and kind of a bit more quality than trying to be all over the top with, you know, like things that don't look right and fit well and photograph well.
When you do the newborns, etc., how do you get them all nicely tucked up and keep them there?
Okay, so the younger they are, the better. They're more easy to mould.
Yeah.
So as soon as they kind of get past a few weeks, they do arm flings and things like, and they're stronger, so they can push against you, and as soon as they feel pressure, they push and stuff. But when they're tiny, they're so sleepy, and in general, they're so sleepy and stuff. And I've got a little trick that I do with all my baskets and stuff. I've made like some donuts, like pillows. So there's a hole. So when you put them in, you put their bottom in there, and they sink. So they're kind of...
They've got to be, you know.
Yeah, they're kind of squished in there.
Yeah. There are 2 questions in 5 minutes.
Okay. How do you use Instagram? Not very well.
Oh.
I can't even answer I can't. You send me videos, I don't even know how to reply to them. Every time I go to reply, the video comes up on my face, and I'm usually like just feral because I'm in front of the computer. I'm like, and like, I don't, not very well. I don't use Instagram very well. But I like Instagram because you don't have to talk as much about your photo. Like, I'm not one to go, oh, look at this little sweetie. I just go like, my captions are like, oh, or you know, the baby's name, you know, Lily with a love heart, like.
So that's a perfectly valid response.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you have a social network of preference, either for inspiration or for sharing, or?
Well, I just go Instagram and Facebook because I think that that's easy.
Yeah.
For instance, I've been paying for a website for 5 years and never put it up. Because I just haven't, because I'm lazy and haven't needed to.
And fussy.
And too fussy, way too fussy. Like, I don't have anything that I want to say, this is me, this is my best, because I haven't done my best yet. Like, I could always better. So, yeah. And it's bit too permanent. Like, I like Facebook and Instagram because you can just keep sharing if you want to, yeah.
Cool. Last one. Really easy one.
What's the highest ISO you'd use? Okay. Whatever I needed to use. If it was a personal project, whatever. For clients, no, I don't. I like 400 and I'm like zooming in. Like But then too, I shoot like wide apertures. When I'm shooting natural light, I go for all the shallow stuff because it's more flattering to like my kind of the subjects that I shoot. It's more flattering. But my studio stuff, I'm shooting like f8. So, you know, and your ISO doesn't. You have low ISO there, so.
So, but I mean, commercially, if you want to stay low, that means you're thinking about the lights you've got to bring to do that.
Yeah, or tripods. Like if I was shooting a building and I had you wouldn't be using. If it was late or something, I would like think of tripods and stuff like that. But I don't want to use high ISO. And I don't know if it's just my camera, but I feel that it's a bit noisy once I get up. But then I also get that noise on the really fast shutter speed as well on me. So it just tend to see it.
All right.
And because I'm a big skin person, so if you've got noisy skin, it's just not nice to edit. Done.
Sweet. Love it. Any more questions before you depart?
Oh, that's yours.
Yeah.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great.
Okay.